All right, today we're jumping into a really cool urban art experiment happening in Tehran. It's all built around this strange but kind of brilliant question. What if a city could actually get dressed?
So the people behind this whole thing start with this really bold statement. This time, the city must wear design. I mean, think about it. We talk about wearing clothes, sure, but a whole city wearing design? What on earth could that actually mean?
And yeah, that's the big question we're going to try and unpack here. To really get it, we have to start with this weird little mystery that just popped up on the streets of Tehran.
Okay, so picture this. You're just walking through your neighborhood, minding your own business, and you see it. 3 totally normal houses, but they're completely wrapped, head to toe, in this super bright, impossible-to-miss yellow fabric. I mean, they just scream at you from across the street.
So, what's the deal? Is it a prank? Some weird advertisement? Well, the truth is, these yellow houses are actually a symptom. They're a response to a much bigger problem. And to understand them, we first have to understand what's going on with the city itself. You see, according to the project's creators, the real problem isn't the buildings, it's what they represent. They make the case that the modern city has, well, become a city of strangers, a place where that feeling of community has just sort of disappeared.
And this slide really breaks it down. You know, on one hand, you had the traditional neighborhood. Everything was interconnected, you had shared public spaces, it felt like a single unified community. Now, compare that to the modern vertical neighborhood. Every high-rise is its own little island, right? It's got its own gym, its own lobby, everything is privatized. We've basically traded this big shared community for just a collection of individuals who happen to live near each other.
And this quote just nails it. I love this. It's like every building is this super educated, very important individual. It's fancy, it's impressive, but it has absolutely nothing to say to its neighbors. They're just standing there, shrugging at each other, totally disconnected.
And that's the result, right? You get a city full of individualities. We kind of lost that glue, that shared sense of what a neighborhood is. And that's the core problem this project is trying to get us to see. So where do you even start to fix something like that?
Well, this brings us right back to that main idea. The project suggests a totally new way of looking at our city, all through this metaphor of clothing.
Okay, so here's the key concept. Get this. Think of the function of a building as its outfit. So when an old historic house becomes the new hot cafe, it's just put on its cafe outfit. When a warehouse gets turned into a tech office, it's now wearing office clothes. The way we use a space is literally how we dress our city.
But this brings up a pretty serious question. If function is fashion, are we dressing our city in the urban equivalent of fast fashion? You know, when we keep flipping old buildings into whatever's trendy right now, are we basically causing an early death for them? Are these new clothes just disposable, leaving the city's bones behind when the trend is over?
So, if our current urban fashion sense is a problem, the people behind this project want us to imagine a completely different wardrobe. They're challenging all of us to ask, okay, why not this instead?
Yeah, they're really pushing back on our defaults. Why does an empty lot have to become another coffee shop? Why not dress it in an outfit that helps our well-being, like a public yoga garden or just a quiet place to meditate?
Or what about this? Dressing our buildings in clothes that are actually productive and sustainable. Imagine walking into your apartment building, and the lobby isn't just a place to wait for the elevator, but it's a living, breathing vertical farm growing food for everyone who lives there.
And why have the sounds of our city become so private, locked away in our headphones? Why can't we bring back those shared cultural moments, like open-air storytelling or music that actually feels connected to the history of the streets we're walking on?
And finally, this is a big one. Why do we almost always pick private luxury over the public good? Instead of another exclusive roof deck for just a few people, why not beautiful hanging gardens that actually help the whole city's air and environment?
So all of these questions, this whole philosophy, it's not just an idea on paper. It all comes together in one single real-world project. And yeah, you guessed it, this brings us right back to those yellow houses. The project is called Gozar Gallery. Now, Gozar actually means passage or path. So it's a gallery you literally walk through, a passage gallery. It's happening in Tehran's historic District 1, and its entire goal is to interrupt your day, to make you stop and just see, hear, and feel your own city in a totally new light.
And that finally solves our mystery. Why yellow? Well, what's the international color for caution? It's yellow, right? The houses are wrapped up like a giant warning sign. They're a physical stop sign. forcing us to pause and think really, really carefully about the clothes, the future use, we're about to put on these buildings.
And this isn't just some abstract concept. The Gozar Gallery is a real, physical path that connects all these major cultural spots across the city. It creates this new story, linking places like the famous Bagh-e-Ferdos garden with the home of the legendary filmmaker Abbas Kiarostami, asking us to see the city as one big, connected story.
So in the end, the whole project leaves us with this one massive question. And it's not for architects or city planners. It's for us, our presence, our choices. How do we, the people who actually live here, help turn this collection of individual buildings back into a real, living, breathing city again? And that's the challenge that Gozar Gallery leaves for every single one of us.